Like,
Yeah, but it's best to clarify terms because otherwise you have something in your head. Remember, you have a circle in your head and I have a triangle in my head, and we're talking about this. And you're like, what do you mean points? There's no points on a circle. Remember?
Yeah, I remember because I taught you
This
that.
is good. This is a good little tidbit thing. We got to save this.
Good thing we're recording.
Always press record. Hey, everybody. This is the Nick and Jason Show. I'm Jason. We're here several weeks later for episode 2, and we're going to talk about tech debt. The standard definition for tech debt is as an analogy to real debt. You know, if you have, if you're in a business and you see an opportunity, but you don't quite have the money, you can make the choice to go into debt, capitalize on the opportunity, and then pay the debt off. It's a pretty standard thing that everybody understands, and so nerds like myself decided to talk about technical debt in kind of the same way, where you're going to make compromises to your architecture, to your code, in order to ship faster, with the idea that you are going to go back and pay down the debt and fix those little problems. And so that's the term technical debt. So Nikta, as a product manager, what do you think about technical debt?
Well, here's what I can tell you. I obviously can't get my hands on technical debt, right? Like I don't, as a PM, I can't log into the bank and see how much tech debt we've accumulated. So it's a completely abstract concept to me, right? And what I know is that engineers seem to absolutely hate it, and it seems to be top of mind for engineers all the time. It seems to be like a source of great frustration. But here's the thing, Jason, like in my career so far, I've seen so many engineers complain about tech debt, and everybody says and has this beautiful vision of this ideal future where everybody writes reusable code that's in these like neat little Lego blocks, and then other engineers can reuse the same Lego blocks and put together these fabulous new structures with the same Lego blocks that is in this like shared pool and stuff. And so everybody wants to write reusable code, but in my experience, nobody wants to use reusable code. Like everybody, it's like every project, every new feature, every new thing that we do, it seems to me like, oh, we can't use that thing that the other team wrote because it's like in this other system, and we don't use GraphQL and whatever, the React, whatever this component, that thing. Like it just like never actually works in practice. And here's the other thing about tech debt, right? Engineers look at this like pile of spaghetti code and they're like, oh my God, this is such a mess. Nobody can understand this, because they didn't write it. And so then they're like, we're going to throw all this into the garbage and start from scratch. Okay. So they throw the spaghetti mess out into the garbage. They have a clean slate and they start building this like really nice, cute little code that's like so simple, so straightforward. And then bam, you get hit with new requirements. So now there's like an edge case. Bam, we find some like new use case that we need to satisfy. So now there's another edge case. So over time, this cute, nice, simple code turns into the same spaghetti mess that they were complaining about before. So really, we shouldn't have thrown it all out. We should have just tried to like make sense of it and make the best of it and like detangle it to the best of our ability and just build on it. And so, you know, to me, it's like, I don't know. It just seems almost like disrespectful in a way to be like, oh, those bozos who wrote that code, like they were idiots. We should be doing it this way. It's just so like, there's like so much ego to it and stuff. I don't know. Am I making sense here, Jason? Like, does any of this resonate with you? What do you think?
Yeah, yes, it does. All of that, I agree with it. I wouldn't call all of it technical debt necessarily, but I guess it kind of gets all jumbled together.
Yeah. In
the mind of a non-technical PM. So let's talk about a couple things. So one, technical debt. It is it's meant to be like this practical thing where, we have this design we want to go to, this architecture, this thing. But you want to ship it at a certain time, but we can't really do that. We can get you there, we can get that ship date, but we're going to have to make some compromises, and we'd like to undo the compromises after, right? That's the ideal technical debt scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But the term kind of gets like bandied about a little too often, and they're like, oh, I don't really know what the requirements are. just write something, and we're gonna have to go into technical debt. And they say that, but not really. They're just either not very good and they're writing crappy code. They don't know it. They do know what they're talking about, but the requirements aren't clear enough so that, you know, their code is kind of compromised right from the start, because they don't know what they're actually supposed to code against. And you know, so what you get is, yeah, people are like, all kinds of coders are like, oh well, there's tons of technical debt here, when they wrote the code. The other scenario you're talking about, where you are like, oh yeah, there's so much, this is just bad code, we got to really start from scratch. What you're dealing with there is a junior developer who just doesn't have a lot of experience with writing code and having it last forever and a really long time, and they don't really understand it. And so if they don't understand it and gone through and read it, which is a skill in itself, then they're going to, you know, complain about that. It's just that there's this mismatch. There's this code base, their knowledge of it, they don't line up. And rather than say, I don't know this code base well enough to say that, you just say, oh, it's garbage, I could write it better. And it's almost entirely so you're either talking to a junior developer or what I like to call the permanent intermediate developer. They know the terms, they don't quite get exactly what they mean, but they can bandy about all day with all these kind of terms and stuff. And they can talk the talk, but they can't really walk the walk. And they never get any better. They never grow. So a lot of those guys, permanent intermediate developers. And then I was gonna go somewhere else. Now I can't remember what it was.
That's great. Let me ask you about this, Jason, because we only have like a minute left. One thing that I find difficult is like, okay, so I understand the concept of like, okay, we can meet that earlier date to ship this product, but we're gonna have to make those compromises, and then later we're gonna go back and fix them, right? So everybody agrees that like, so rarely, at least in companies that I've worked at, do you have the luxury of being able to go back and fix it later. And the reason for that is that you cannot make the business case, right? So in my PM world, we're constantly trying to, there's like 1,001 things that we could do. So the way that we choose which 5 things we're going to do is based on the business impact or the impact that they're going to have on the customer or on our user, combined with the effort, right? So if we've already achieved most of what there is to gain by going after this new opportunity that we went into tech debt for, then it's so hard to ever make the business case that, okay, now we should go back and undo those compromises, because it's just totally diminishing returns from a business impact sense. And so one thing that I wish that we as a collective tech community could do better is get better at measuring the cost, the true cost of this tech debt. Because developers will tell me all the time, oh, if we didn't have it this way, we could like work faster, we could ship new features faster, blah, blah, whatever. But like, quantify that for me. Like literally do some of the rough back of the napkin math to say, okay, well, you know, I can go and build it for you in this existing system and it's going to take me 6 weeks. Or if you let me take, you know, 4 weeks to write off all the tech debt, then I could, you know, ship it to you much faster then. Do you know what I mean? Like having some more concrete measures. Like, why should you ever pay off your tech debt? Just don't do it. Who cares? You're not going to get thrown in jail.
Right. And in a lot of cases, you're right. Don't bother. It's not worth it. And you're absolutely right. And oh yeah, it's all dirty code. Well, what are the chances you're going to revisit it, right? Like you wrote, you know, code for one screen, and you're probably never going to update it again. So why bother?
Well, but
even though it's not this beautiful architecture,
right?
You just forget it. Don't worry about it. And a lot of those engineers are complaining about stuff that they don't get the business case. They don't understand. They don't understand it in those terms. They only understand it in code. And the code's not, the code's got to go to, right? Things like that. Only the tech people will get what I just said. So, there's definitely that. And then there's often, an engineer and a PM in a room, and they are talking right past each other. And no one realizes that they're talking different languages. And so I find with tech debt, if there truly is tech debt, you don't do it. You don't talk about it and ask the PM, hey, can I go fix this? You just go and fix it. And, that's what I found to be the most effective, is that, oh, we still need this code. We need to tweak this code to carry on with these other requirements you gave us. And so I'm going to tweak the code, and it'll take, if you know what you're going to do, it shouldn't take very long to tweak it, to refactor it so that you pay off this tech debt.
Yeah, but you're talking about,
and a lot of people don't even notice.
Simple example. Like, what if it's like, oh, it's not tweaking the code. It's like, we need to rewrite this whole thing, but now it's using Kafka instead of using this whatever other. Anyways, Jason,
That's
we could go a lot deeper into this topic. I think what we should do. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. So here's what I would like to propose. Let's have our many, many subscribers, our huge, vast audience,
right,
give us their feedback, because this is a very controversial topic, and perhaps I'm going to get some hate for some of the comments that I made earlier in the video.
Or me too.
We're going to find out.
Don't forget to click subscribe.
So hit the subscribe button. Let us know what you think about comments about tech debt in the comments, and then we'll make some future episodes addressing some of your points. Sound good, Jason?
Sounds great. See you later.
See you later.